The presidents of Turkey and France vow to strengthen security and trade ties, but these two allies also have their sharp disagreements. First and foremost is their view on journalists.
Terror doesn't form by itself. There are so-called gardeners of terror and terrorists. These gardeners are those people viewed as thinkers. They write in their newspapers, their columns, as if watering them. They are the ideologues that contribute to terrorism.
President Macron says if Turkey wants more support from the EU, that view of the press must change. With thousands of civil servants and more than 100 journalists sitting in Turkish jails, President Macron says Turkey's bid to join the EU should remain frozen.
It is clear that recent developments and choices allow no progress in the process that is underway.
EU-Turkey relations began to deteriorate when President Erdogan consolidated power after a botched coup failed to oust him in 2016. In the aftermath, he considered bringing back the death penalty, locked up tens of thousands of people, and further cracked down on press freedom. Ahead of his arrival here in Paris, Reporters Without Borders members rallied outside the Turkish embassy. Protesters carried portraits of some of the more than 100 journalists locked up in Turkish prisons.
When he says that Turkish journalists are terrorists or spies, and that's why they are in jail. No, they are in jail just because they did their jobs, because they tried to reveal the reality, the truth about the current situation in Turkey.
But still, the EU and Turkey are NATO partners, and the EU has a multi-billion-dollar aid deal with Turkey to house refugees that has slowed the continent's migration crisis. They disagree on human rights, but analysts say these neighbors need each other.
It's not a relationship that can be thrown away. And sure, there's still a lot of difficulties in the relationship. There's big concerns about the state of democracy in Turkey as well. But at the same time, it's not in the EU's benefit to isolate Turkey further by trying to cut them off.
The fact that President Erdogan came here to meet President Macron shows the growing influence of France. While German Chancellor Angela Merkel is struggling back home to build a coalition, President Macron is emerging as the leader in the EU with the most power and clout over EU foreign policy. Kevin Uzbek, CGTN, Paris.